Hey, what's up, you guys? Steve Loper here with the Heavy Hitter Podcast. Tonight's going to be a good night. We're going to be talking about the Country Music Awards, which is going on tonight. It's on downstairs, and I'm missing out to be here with you guys. We're also going to be talking about no regrets. Do you want to be that guy who's 80 years old, living at the retirement home, wishing he'd have done all this good stuff? We're going to dive into that. And we do have a special guest also. His name is Aaron Hodges. He's a web design and development manager. He's got questions about sales, social media. We're just going to jump into that. Let me first say what's up to my boy Josh in Minnesota. Give him a shout.
Hey, what's going on, heavy hitters? Aaron, I'm so excited to have you, man. Thanks for joining us. And I just appreciate that anyone would actually listen to us on our podcast. And I just appreciate you, Aaron, for giving my boy just a little bit of encouragement, because I tell you what, I don't know, maybe it's just, whenever you step outside your comfort zone, I feel like people in my natural market just kind of like looking at me a little bit different, like, what the heck are you doing? So I just appreciate that, Aaron, and I appreciate you joining us tonight, man.
Yeah, well, I'm actually excited to be on for the same reasons. I think that, the things I think about are doing social media, doing podcasts, doing this kind of creative stuff and putting stuff out there. And it is true. It's kind of hard to kind of come out and put yourself out there, and you kind of feel like, do I really deserve to do this kind of stuff? Am I good enough? Or people are just going to kind of like, it's not important, or it's not that good, or everybody's doing it, or whatever. And so I like the topic that you're talking about tonight. Don't get to 80 years old and regret that you didn't get out there and start creating and start doing things and stuff like that. So yeah, I think it's exciting. I think it's awesome. I've gotten a lot of pumped up energy from just getting to know Steve over the past couple of months, living 2 doors down from me and stuff like that. So I just thought, you know what, I'd love to join in and just see what's going on. And I've been listening to you guys, and I've come up with some questions and some thoughts. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, you guys put out the call for anyone to join in. I told Steve, hey, man, I'd love to join in. So,
that's awesome, man. Cool. Well, dude, and I mean, it's opened up so many doors and relationships. And I mean, that's what life and business is about. I mean, Loper, you can touch on, without this podcast, I wouldn't have met you tonight. I wouldn't have met DJ Bonix, Johnny's Pizza, North Carolina, who I don't even have one of those in Minnesota. I mean, many relationships, not yet, right? So many relationships are being opened up, meeting new people, and that's what life's all about. I mean, Steve, you can talk more about that.
Yeah, we talked about it last night offline a little bit, Josh, and it's about how good this podcast has been. And I mentioned it to you too, Aaron, has been for relationship building. Right. And last night we were talking about other people in their podcast, and they set up this nice little, area in their home or in their office to do their podcast. And then they have to worry about inviting people in and having them set up, making sure they have water, they know where the restroom's at. And then it's kind of awkward because you're face to face. And Josh and I last night had this big, it's kind of like I don't know what you call it, where the bell goes off in your head. You're like, ding. But this is where people are comfortable now. You're in your own home. You don't have to go anywhere. You could be in your skeevies. Everybody's on the internet.
Right.
This is the way to do it. I mean, and the relationships, the depth of the relationship with just spending 1 hour with people, like it's creating relationships way better than me going in and knocking on the door at a business and saying, hey, my name's Steve. I work for so-and-so, and I want to talk to you about this today. That doesn't work. This is really, really working.
Right. Well, and I mean, like I told you, Steve, like the BS, like you want to grab coffee. I mean, we're going to talk a little bit of sales. Like every sales guy's like, you want to grab coffee? It's like, at the end of the coffee appointment, you're going to end up getting pitched something. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's like, but hey, you want to come on my podcast and talk about life, talk about CMT Awards, and, talk about marketing and social media? Yeah, cool.
And Aaron, that's kind of like a lead into what you had asked on the porch today.
Yeah, well, I was just thinking about that too. Like, I think that it's so interesting how, everybody's got a story they want to tell. So when you're opening that opportunity for someone to come onto your podcast and just talk, it's great. People want to be known. People want to be heard. But yeah, my question is to both of you guys, because you have some sales experience and stuff like that. And so my background is more building out websites, designing and developing. And I kind of know all the back end to all the things that you need to do for social media and all the things you need to do for a website and building a blog and all these different things that I've kind of encountered from that end. I've worked both with an engineering department and a marketing department. But the one that's always kind of remained a mystery to me, and I've mentioned to you before, Steve, that I kind of want to learn more about and kind of put myself out there to I think expand my boundaries of what I can do, is getting more in an understanding of sales. And how do you guys, how do you build those relationships with people? And when you're going out and meeting people and starting those relationships with them, you mentioned before, you're taking a client to, a hockey game and that sort of thing. When I get there, I'm just thinking the whole time, there's a conflict of interest in my heart where I'm like, I want to establish a relationship with this person, but at the same time, I feel like it's kind of got a false motivation of trying to make a sale. And how do you balance those two things and continue that forward to give the person the opportunity to have that relationship, but also to continue your business and do what you need to do?
And Josh, I had time to think about this earlier because he asked me, so I'll jump in. But my response to him was, that awkwardness, don't let it be awkward. Just that's your time to just have fun and relax. That's what you're doing. You're getting him out of the house. You're getting him away from work. That's not a time for business at all in my mind. That's the time to have a couple of cold beers, take him to that nice steak dinner, buy him that glass of wine that he normally maybe couldn't afford or something like that on the company's dime, and just go and enjoy that, and don't have that is he going to buy attitude in the back of my head. And then I had mentioned to you too, Aaron, that if you have a product that you really honestly, truly believe in that is going to be beneficial to him, it sells itself, honestly. It's, if you really think it's going to impact his business or impact his life in a positive way, then you don't have anything to worry about trying to sell him something, because you honestly, wholeheartedly believe it can make an impact for him. Now, if you were just trying to sell him something because you knew you were going to make $5,000 cash on the side and he didn't really need it, that's shiesty. That's not what we're doing here. If we're selling a good product, a quality product that we know is going to be good for their business or good for them, whatever it could be personally, then it's the relationship and you're doing the right thing. So there's nothing wrong with mixing sales and relationships like that, I wouldn't think. Joshy?
Yeah. Well, so, my background, just so people don't think it's like my first day at sales, like I'm not the greatest salesman in the world, but I've been in sales probably like 7-8 years. I started off in insurance. I was a farmer's agent. Then I was an independent insurance agent, started networking with real estate agents, loan officers. And I figured out, I was like, hey, like this, like selling insurance really isn't a whole lot of fun. Like getting people into houses and helping them build dreams is like more what I want to do. But I guess what I'm about to share is, when you were talking about that, I remembered from my early insurance days what my district manager taught me. And it's probably something I don't do enough of, but there's definitely people that I meet every single day that want to do business with myself and my team, including mortgage brokers, that don't do this. And that's, have you guys heard of the acronym FORD by chance? FORD?
Only as a slight against Ford automobiles.
Oh yeah. Found on the road.
Found on road dead.
Yeah.
I like that. Found on road dead. What is the acronym for Chevy? I know I heard it once, but I
don't know that one.
I can never remember it. Yeah. So this is not that. It's not found on road dead. It's family, occupation, recreation, and dreams.
Oh, right. I have heard that one.
And it sounds a little maybe not hoity-toity, like corny or whatever, but I tell you what, there's a lot of people that approach me for my business, like mortgage people, who they don't know. They see a ring on my finger, but they don't know if I have any kids. They don't ask, what their names are, how old they are, like what we like to do, where I like to vacation, do I golf, or like, it's just like very basic stuff. You know what I mean? When you're like sitting down, having a cup of coffee with someone, and I don't know, maybe it's just that I care a little bit more than the average person. I don't know, but
yeah,
I'm just always kind of surprised.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting. And I think kind of what both of you have said really it kind of reminds me of like a first date situation. And I know that I'm married as well. And so we've none of us have been out on a date in a long, long time, at least to someone new, not a first date situation, but it can be just awkward and tough. So it's just one of those things where I'm always interested in what kind of conversations you get into. And that's a good point about the Ford, the FORD, family, occupation, relationship, and dreams. And
recreation.
There you go. Yeah. I was like, can't be that one because families anyway. But yeah, so yeah, I think that's good. I think that's a good start, at least, for that whole thing. But what else you got, Steve? Anything else?
I was going to say, I don't normally invite them to hockey games and stuff like that until I already have a relationship with them. Because I want to make sure that I want to spend 3 hours with them and hang out, so.
And I think a lot of it comes down to something that I wasn't very good at back in my early days of sales was, Gary talks about it all the time. It's just like have an expectation. Like, whenever you do something and you expect something out of someone, like whether it's your wife or your kid, like I've just really tried to like numb it down. Like I really try hard not to expect anything of anyone, not that they're going to buy. And I remember like what one of my coaches told me a long time ago, a sales coach, was, to really try to get deep with people, because like everyone always asks like, how are you? And, people say good, but people they'll tell you that even if they're like, not good, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So what he suggested is like, ask them like, what are you up to? What are you up to in life? It's a totally different thing.
Reframe the question.
Yeah, exactly. And then ask them, what are some of your major wins right now? Like what's going well for you this week? And then again, what's not going well for you this week, and what's not going well. Then if you can help them in some way, add value to their life by either like sending them an article about like social media, or, if they're like, well, my car just broke down, I'm looking for a new car, and you can direct them over to like Steve, who knows like car guys, and get them a good deal, to be like, wow, man, that Aaron guy's like really cool. He's not just trying to sell me.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe that was just a bunch of hypothetical stuff, but I think that would be pretty good.
No, I think that's good. I think it's a good reminder to just focus on that. I think I self-sabotage a lot if I'm in that situation, and I'm not in it a lot, which is why it's kind of uncomfortable and new for me and stuff. But, I get ahead of myself and thinking, that my motivations aren't clear, or, that I have a hidden agenda or something like that. And I just need to let that go and really just focus on the agenda being getting to know this person. And if what I have can be helpful to their business or their needs or whatever they're doing, then that's going to come out anyway.
And how do I say that? Like, if you think that your product that you want to offer, like say you want to go to the car guys, right? And you want to make those videos that you're talking about, right, and you really think it could help. It's a sales call basically to introduce yourself and say, hey, and this is what I want to do. But if you honestly think you can make something out of it, people can see that and feel that off of you. So there's no script that you're going to walk into that place with. You're going to walk in there and you're going to wing it. And you're going to wing it 10 times and 20 times. And each time that you do it, you'll see what got him to shake his head yes. And you won't take a note on it, but you'll kind of remember like that was better than the last one, or that one was better than the last one. You just got to keep doing it. There's nothing to it but to do it. That old lame slogan, but that's the way I learned to be an outside sales rep back at my days at TransUnion. This guy took me around, and he had a box of koozies and a box of notepads and pens. And he would just walk up to the American General desk, and I was trying to get them to send their flood reports to us. And he'd walk in and say, hey, man, my name's Aaron Fain. And he'd lean up on the desk and drop his pens and papers. There's a manager around I can speak with. And, he was just being himself, just a big old country boy. And that's all there really was to it. And I just watched him from there, and I was like, oh, I could do that, just go in there and do it. Yeah.
Nice. Well, it's kind of like what you were just saying too. It's even just a numbers game. If you go into 10 places, you're more likely to get that one yes if you're going into 10 places than you are if you just go into one place.
Oh yeah.
You know, if you go into one
Yeah.
place and get that no, you don't know that the next place isn't going to say yes.
Yeah, we're hitting
And
up
learn from that experience.
we're hitting up people on social media now just through the direct messages. You know, it's you know, I'm today I got a response back from somebody that has 100,000 followers. He's a big time photographer for a rapper, you know, that's on the top of the charts right now. And
For Post Malone, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have a whole lot in common with the guy or anything,
Right.
but I know he would be a great, he has some great stories, obviously, to tell. And, you know, I didn't expect to hear back. I DM'd him 3 times, and my last one was just like, any chance? And he was like, hey, man, hit me up in 2 months after busy season, and I'll make some time for you guys. Just hit it. That's like a home run, you know?
That's nice.
So, well, what about, I guess, Aaron, what are you like working on now? As far as job goes or side hustle goes, or like,
Yeah. What are you up to, man?
yeah, so talking about what are you up to, what's going well, what's not going well, Aaron?
So yeah, I'm looking to try and get more into doing the social media stuff and being more helpful in that. I think it's something that I have a natural talent for, a bent for, something I've been doing kind of on my own for a while. As far as I've been a developer and a designer, which is kind of unusual. Usually for someone like that, they'll either develop a web page or they'll design it. It's unusual to have both. And then to have the marketing experience and background and not just an engineering background and that sort of thing. So I've been looking to kind of combine those efforts. My wife is a video editor, so to be able to incorporate that as well. I just have like the whole package and being able to put that together for my own, you know, side projects and stuff like that. So I always find that, and you guys know how this is, having kids and that sort of thing. There's so many things going on all the time. You get to the end of the day and you're just wiped out and exhausted, and you're thinking, oh, I don't know if I can really sit down at a computer right now and try and churn something out. So I'm trying to find the space in the day and the energy and the motivation to get into doing that. I've been listening to, you know, Gary Vee a bit, listening to you guys, seeing what Casey Neistat does and all these guys. I've been following some YouTubers on a podcast that they do, and just seeing, you know, that this is a world that I'm really interested in, and something I feel like, you know, I would enjoy. Whether I'd be good at it or not is almost second, you know, it's almost not even part of the equation. You know, just enjoy it. It could be fun. It could be a hobby. It could be something we're doing, you know, just because you get a kick out of it. And then if something else comes, great. But making that the motivation first, doing something that you love, and then worrying about the income or whatever after the fact.
Yeah. Yeah. I tell people all the time that this is all like a hobby. This is like something I just enjoy doing. And at first I was making these I was tearing apart wood pallets, and I was making these shark cutouts, and I had an Etsy store. Well, that was cool for a while. And then I realized I got to clean up all this damn sawdust in the garage, and it's like everywhere, and I'm not very organized. So that would be a huge mess. And then I started painting on the wood pallet instead. So I would paint like, I've got a medal hanger over there for my wife, all her bibs and all her medals. And it says, "Run for a good cause yourself." Hand painted, super nice. I did some birth announcements, but I was like, man, this sucks. I'm sitting at my desk painting, you know, it was cool and calm and quiet, but it was kind of boring. So I pushed that one to the side. And then I was like, I love social media, and I always have. So I was like, oh, let me start making some videos. So I just started making videos. I've done this thing called the Scoot Club with the kids on the street before. We probably got like 10 or 12 episodes in. We've done the Brothers by Barbecue. I loved all that stuff. And now I found myself in love with podcasting, because with podcasting, it's put the headphones on, hit record, done. Like, more so than video editing, I had to get the footage. I had to upload the footage. I had to pull out the computer. And I used to think that was great because all I had to do to quit was shut my laptop. But now it's just like click. Now, you know?
Yeah.
It's fun. And I get to create all the content I want around it. And this captures the video that I can make those little clips from. So
and I would say you're probably pretty much a talker too. So that's a good fit for you.
You know,
that is true.
Do I talk too much? I don't know.
No one said too much.
Back on this thing, man.
No, I wouldn't say too much, man. You could talk to anyone though, dude. Like,
And people say that, but I honestly don't feel like that. If you take me to a big old, like if I have to go downtown to a conference today and it's just me, I'm not talking to a whole lot of people. Like I was lucky to meet you down in Miami because you gave me somebody to talk to. And you notice how much I talked to you. Like I got to check you out. Oh, you were nice. I was nice. And I was like, all right, comfort zone. I'll stick with you. But I'm not like a big old loudmouth walking around high-fiving people wanting to get to know everybody in the room. I can't.
I'm not either. I mean, that's when I get into environments like that, I'm surprised to hear that actually about you. I'm kind of more of an introvert. I'm just like, I might meet 2 to 5 people, but I'm definitely like not working the room and like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. Aaron, how do you do at that?
Yeah, I was born and raised an introvert. I got interested in I think I got interested in acting and performing when I was a kid. And so it kind of brought me out of my shell a little bit. And I just kind of pushed beyond that. And I really loved being up on stage and presenting. I didn't care anything or anything like that. I remember having, some parents or whatever coming up and saying, "Oh, you were so great." And I was like, I just want to go away. I don't want to hear any of this right now. But I think over time, and in college, I was an MC for like a campus group that I was a part of. And I don't know, I kind of did that because I was part of the committee to look for an MC, and we kept looking around and no one was available. No one was willing to do it, take the time to do it or whatever. And so I was like, all right, fine, I'll do it. And I just didn't have a fear of being on stage at that point. And so I got up there and I found it was a really natural fit for me. I really enjoyed it. I kind of want to incorporate that in my job somehow, in my future somehow, whether it's my job or not. But it was really great in a couple of ways because I was able to find a part of me that I didn't know about, but also it helped push me outside of my shell a little bit and kind of get me from being so introverted and find a space that I can be extroverted and still, still come home at the end of the day and be like, I just need to wind down by myself or with my wife and not have, go into a big party setting with 1,000 people. That's kind of overwhelming for me. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with that whole introverted extroverted thing. But I think it's good for introverts to find their extroverted self as much as possible, and extroverts to find their introverted selves as well.
For sure.
I do have a request for you, Aaron, then about the MC stuff. I am going to miss the last home swim meet. So if you want to go ahead and sign up to just fill in for an announcer at that last one, it's all yours.
As long as I know what I need to say, I have no problem with that.
Yeah, dude, look, I've got it all right here. I built this today. This is my this is the announcements basically. There you go.
There you go. Perfect.
Yep. Got it all written down for you. And then everybody runs up to you sort of chaotically and says, "Steve, could you announce that we're going to go to the ice cream place after this?"
Right.
Then you're like, "Oh, let me see how I should say this." The other day I was doing some announcing at the time trials, and they wanted me to tell the parents to that weren't volunteering to move away from the kids that were setting up to swim. And they were all under this, like, what do you call it? Where it's got the slats on top, the shady area with the slats on the top of it.
Oh, the pergola or whatever?
Pergola, yeah.
Like the pergola. Yeah, I couldn't think of any word to describe it. So I'm on the mic talking to, a couple hundred people or so. And I say, parents, if you would, you need to, if you're not volunteering and you're over there where the swimmers are underneath that that white thingy.
I love it.
They get a little comic relief when I say stupid stuff, so it kind of works.
It makes it more fun. Makes it more real.
Oh, that's awesome.
So what about regrets and stuff, guys? Well, first, I guess sales. Anything else on sales, guys? I mean, I know it was just sort of one question. We kind of went on from there, but anything in particular about sales you have, Aaron?
No, I mean, I think that's it for right now. I'm maybe I'm looking for an opportunity to kind of to try that stuff out and to just kind of, I think what you guys said was really helpful as far as just, focusing on the relationship and not worrying about the sale. And it's going to come because it's going to come, but it's going to have to be something I'll have to just try it in the real world, put it into practice and see how it comes out.
Find something to sell and go try to sell it. Like,
Yeah.
I'm always trying to sell something, or I'm at least always trying to think of the next thing that I can try to sell.
Right. Right.
You know,
Yeah. I mean, I think for me, just doing the web stuff and having that on the side and doing the social media stuff and that sort of thing, it's stuff that I have that I feel confident in, that I feel really good about what I've built and what I can build for people. And when I know that, I look at their websites and I'm like, man, they're way behind the times. I could update them quick and easy, real affordable and all that stuff. But then it's like trying to make that connection and that sort of thing. I find that that's where I get in my own way.
See, that's where you should walk in the door. Like if you see if you know a business up in our, like a 3-mile radius that you've been on their website and it absolutely sucks. What's wrong with saying, hey, who's in charge of the website, or who could I talk to about the website? I saw something on there the other day that I just had some questions about. And then you find out who to talk to. And then basically go in there and say, hey man, I saw this, I'm in web design. I know I can fix this up for you really affordable. And because you're offering them something that you really believe in, that you know that you could do.
Right.
That would benefit them, that you wouldn't, you're not charging them an arm and a leg. And that is essentially a sales call. One that you're actually believing in. So,
yeah. And I think one of the biggest things is, and you guys have probably experienced this, is whenever we're approached by like a salesperson, or at least for me, because I've been, being with the insurance background and real estate, I get people trying to pitch me stuff all the time. Like, hey, we can do this, that, the other thing. You want keychains, a website. I think I'm just always like probably any other business owner where I'm like, okay, what's the return on investment going to be?
Right.
So, I mean, if I spend, $1,000 or $2,000 on a brand new website with you, exactly like what is that going to do? And, it's hard to correlate, right? I mean, you don't know, when I put $1 in exactly what I'm going to get, but I mean, we know that if we don't have a website, like the Heavy Hitter podcast doesn't have a website, I think we're losing out. We maybe not 15, 17 episodes in, but Loper, we probably need a website, and it would be
Loper. It's Hodges.
No,
you're talking to the wrong guy, bro.
Well, you know what I mean.
I think I finally just got a job. I don't know if it's getting paid, but I still think I have some work on my plate.
We'll be able to put on there created by, whatever you want us to put, we can talk about the website being brought. You could be sort of like a sponsor of the podcast, man. Bam! There we go.
Love it.
We're not going to talk about you again until you actually sponsor the podcast. We don't care. That's what Josh.
I just got disinvited pretty quickly. Wow, I did that great.
Josh will mention some kind of business, and he'll say, "And I'm not going to mention you again until you donate to the podcast, or until you decide to sponsor the podcast."
Yeah. After cracking a beer, cracking a cold, whatever. I'm not going to say the word. One of those bubbly drinks.
Right. So no regrets, man. Do either of you guys have something on the agenda, kind of like maybe a bucket list item that you just got to do before it's all said and done and you're in that retirement home? Or is there a particular goal that you want to reach that you kind of find yourself, maybe it's kind of unrealistic because you're just dragging your feet or something along those lines? Anyone?
You hit it, Josh.
I'll let Aaron go. I defer.
All right. I don't know. I think for me, it's been a lot of the little things that I always put off because I feel like I stay busy with so much of the things and then I'm lazy at the end of the day and I don't go out there and do it and stuff like that. So like even just the little things, like I keep putting off, learning to play golf better and getting out there and just taking lessons and just keeping at it. If you don't go, you're not any good. I don't go, so I'm not any good. But making sure that we only have one life to live. I'm 42 years old. I want to get out there and start and be good at it. What am I waiting on? I just need to make sure I put it on the calendar and get out there and do it. I think one of the other things that I've been interested in doing is, a couple of things are writing. I want to do more writing, whether fictional or, nonfiction. If it's writing articles for publications online, or if it's, writing a children's story or something like that, that's been something I've kind of wanted to do. And every now and again, I'll open up a Word doc and I'll start chipping away at something, and then I'll put it away and life will take over again. And I don't come back to it. So yeah, I think those are a couple of the big ones right there. And doing something with music, I've always wanted to do something with music, and I just, I had a friend when I was in high school who gave me an acoustic guitar. He was like, "Here, learn. This will be amazing." I mean, what a gift that was. And I never learned. I mean, I learned a little bit here and there, but just not enough to really make anything of it. So yeah, I think that's one of those things where it's like I just let life get in the way all the time.
Was that friend Eric Church by
No. I didn't know Eric. He's the one who went to Appalachian, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Yep.
I went to Appalachian for a couple of years, but I don't think I knew Eric Church.
Never crossed paths with Eric.
You talked about. Oh, sorry, Josh. You talked about golf real quick, and whether you play, if you don't play and you're horrible, and then you're like, oh well, I'm going to play 2 or 3 times this year, you're still going to be horrible.
Oh yeah.
And don't feel bad about the guitar. I've got one sitting right over in the corner there. My brother gave me probably like 18 years ago. Can't play it a lick. I can play a couple of chords, enough to, maybe have a few drinks and think it sounds good to myself, but I'm in the same boat with you.
See,
yeah, absolutely.
So that's interesting because I've been thinking about getting a guitar too, but before I get one, I almost would like to find someone like you guys that like, hey, can I maybe borrow this for a little bit and like get lessons on it? Or like go to a place like, because I think with whatever our regret is, we always like put this like huge obstacle in the way, right? Like I think I need like this like nice guitar. It's like, dude, like, I don't know, what if I just went and like showed up to a guitar place and was like, hey, can I take lessons and you supply the guitar? And I mean, maybe I find out that I'm just not coordinated enough to play, and then that's the end of that. Like, why do I need to go get the nicest picks and the nicest guitar? Like, quit putting up these obstacles, right?
Right. And that reminds me of what I was saying with Steve earlier today about like, when I'm wanting to do something like put together a podcast or work on, some sort of web presence or something like that, I keep putting my own obstacles in my own way because I'm like, oh, I got to create the right logo and I got to come up with the right name and I got to do all this stuff. And I see from Steve, you're more of a doer. You just get out there and you do it and you're like, we'll figure out the website later. We'll figure out this thing or that part of it, whatever later. And you're just putting content out there and you're just, that stuff's going to come and you'll get to it. But the energy of creating is the hard part to get started. And if I keep putting those obstacles in my own way, it's going to keep me from moving forward. And I can keep delaying because I'm like, oh, well, before I do that, I have to have these 32 steps to get through before I can hit record on my first podcast or whatever. And so, yeah, I mean, it's really true. You just have to kind of get going on it. And for the guitar, just jump on Craigslist and, find someone who's selling a $50 guitar. It doesn't have to be great. Just see if it works out for you. And then if you want to upgrade, then sell that guitar on Craigslist for $50 and get a new one. It's like a free guitar.
There you go.
Yeah. And you guys keep saying the word obstacles. And the other day I read something and it was comparing, it was like a slideshow or something like that I watched, but every time somebody said the word obstacle, they would just basically scratch it out and call it an excuse. Like you start turning these obstacles, they're all just excuses. If you don't,
absolutely,
you can knock it out, but it's just an excuse not to keep moving forward.
You're right. It is,
Hey, a while back, we were in my backyard and Killingbird, the poker player, he confronted me about something. And I started making an excuse like right out of the gate because he was calling me out on it. And I was like, well, he stopped me in the middle of the sentence and he said, if you're making excuses, you're losing.
Dang.
Like, shit. Yeah. Well, I was losing because I was like, as soon as I started making an excuse, I felt like in my mind, I was backpedaling,
Yeah.
I was trying to get out of there. And that's making excuses, you're losing. And I was like, hell, that is right. That is exactly right.
That's so cool though. I mean, I read something, it was a couple days ago where it was kind of talking about that situation. It was like, either we're loyal to people's smallness or we're loyal to their, not bigness, but it's basically like, taking a stand for someone and like not being loyal. So many times, like we just as people, friends, acquaintances, or people we work with, we let people off the hook. It's like, oh, sorry, I was 5 minutes late. It's like, you're like, oh, that's okay. It's like, no, BS. Get your butt here on time next time. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like I was saying last night, Loper, it's something that just like has been confronting me a lot, is like how you do one thing is how you do everything. And that really, I don't like saying it, but it just,
I hate that. I hate that thing. That
like,
makes me feel guilty.
Your wife would have freaked if she would have saw my bathroom this morning.
Yeah. Yeah, it made me feel guilty.
So yeah, I mean, I just wanted to talk about no regrets, because I saw your post on Instagram. It said like no regrets, like I'm really going after it. Like, what's that all about? Like, what are you really going after?
Like, it's just like doing it now, you know. Before I made excuses about like putting out content, like just like we've all said it here like 3 times tonight. Like, who am I to do this and who am I to do that? And I don't care anymore, man. I'm gonna do what makes me happy. And then, you know, deal with, like, if people don't like it, you know, so what? You know, audit your circle of friends type of stuff. Like, I'm going to be around people who lift me up, and the people who drag you down, you know, whatever. I don't have time for that. You know, I'm going to be around people that I lift up, and I want people to be around me that lift me up. And, you know, I'm just going to do what makes me happy. That's been a huge topic of what I think about, you know, for weeks and months. You know, after I've told you about that 4-page ad that I did, and I always said it was my best day of my career ever. And I don't know if I was going through some kind of weird, like, emotional phase or something, because it was, until that point, it was my favorite day at work. But now I look at that day and say, that day didn't impact anybody. It didn't change anything. It's not going to leave any kind of legacy. Oh, my dad sold a 4-page ad one day. Like, I want to really impact people's lives, change lives, like have a real positive impact on something. And I don't know, I'm just going to go for it. I want to do what makes me happy. If I'm not excited and happy about what I'm doing, I'm going to keep on searching for it.
I think that is so great. And I think that's something I've been really coming to terms with myself, because I grew up myself being kind of skeptical and pessimistic and, you know, a bit cynical. And that was just my way to kind of cope with the world and what I was seeing around me. I saw people who were doing better than at this and that and the other thing. And, you know, I just found a way to be cynical about it. And over the past few years, I've been really realizing that that's not getting me anywhere. It's not earning me any awards. It's not making my life any better. I'm not happier for that. And so I've really been trying to kind of listen more, to pay more attention to learn from people who have more positive energy. And I think that, you know, when I was growing up, I would see a lot of, especially, I don't know if it's especially, but certainly in the South, you see a lot of people who are, you know, they're super bubbly and all their energy and stuff. And it feels real fake, and it feels real kind of surfacey. And certainly that's true. Certainly there are people who have that kind of like surfacey, fake, bubbly energy that there's no real depth to, and you wonder what's going on beyond just that fake facade. But beyond just that, there are people who are authentically enjoying themselves. And what's wrong with even enjoying a conversation with someone who is going to be a little bit fake and bubbly, and really being like, you know what, that's okay. I'm just going to enjoy my time. They have a positive outlook on life right now, even if they're trying to just put it on, just fake it till they make it. And just own up to that and be part of that. And, you know, really learn to be positive and to not worry about the haters and the doubters and the people who are going to be critics and, you know, the YouTube commenters and all that stuff, and just be like, you know what, let's just have fun. Let's just have fun and do it.
Yeah. I told Josh the other day, we were at the pool, and I was like, Josh, I texted him. I was like, we have our first podcast hater. And he was like, what do you mean? And I was like, yeah, I walk over and this guy says, hey man, I watched your last video. And I was like, oh yeah, did you? And I thought he was talking about Brothers by Barbecue. He was like, oh, the podcast one. And I was like, oh, cool. You know, we're just having some fun. And he was like, what do you have? 8 followers? And I was just kind of like, yeah, like,
you didn't tell me that part.
Yeah. But he called me out at the pool, you know, and I was kind of like, dude, you're exactly one of those people that I just brushed my shoulders off. And, you know, I'm sorry you're kind of pissed that you're not out here doing it, you know, that I'm actually doing stuff, you know, and you're sitting back at the pool, you know, whatever. You know, I guess it did bother me a little bit, but that's what it's for. It's more like motivation. So
right. A chip on your shoulder.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah. So let me ask you this. So, you know, you guys like social media. and you probably both can relate to this, but Steve, I mean, especially you've been doing a lot of Insta stories lately. I mean, uh, is that not kind of weird at first? Like, doing like the old video, the Insta story. And like, I guess my question really is like, after you post that, like, cause I made a post yesterday of acting like Macho Man Randy Savage making tacos. And I was like, I wanted to delete it right away after I posted it. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm such an idiot. Like, people are going to be like, what the heck? I mean, do you guys ever feel like that? Like, you put something out there on social media and you're just like,
Yeah,
have a
yeah.
little regret posting it, not because it's like,
Yeah, I think everybody does, man. And I think those ones that you kind of are kind of, you kind of feel weird about, you have to overcome that and let it ride. And
you have to post it, right?
yeah, kind of. Unless it's, derogatory or something along those lines.
Right.
It's a bit out of line, maybe you could pull it. But I haven't got comfortable with it, but I am trying to get comfortable with it. After talking to Johnny the other day, and then starting to follow some of the companies that sort of mirror what he's doing, like that Chronic Tacos. These are just regular dudes like us, like Johnny isn't some big social media guru. He's a regular dude that said, dag nabbit, I'm going to do it. And the guy from Chronic Tacos is the same way. So that proves to me that regular dudes can do it too. It doesn't have to be my top 5 favorite, Instagram sort of celebrities or content creators. These are just regular dudes that are doing it. So I'm like, damn it, if they can do it, I can do it too. And I just have started doing it, and I'm doing it every day now. So,
Josh, that just reminded me of a video I posted back in November, I think it was, on YouTube. And I'd gotten the iPhone X or the iPhone 10, whatever you want to call it. And I recorded my whole kind of experience going to the Apple Store, or even how I kind of got it, because it was back in the time when you couldn't just go to the store and pick it up. They were still all sold out, and buying it online, there was like a 3-month wait line for it and all this stuff. But I was able to get it that day, and there was a little trick to it. So I kind of put this video together explaining how to do it, and like going to the store and the experience of getting the iPhone and coming home with it and all that stuff. And I intentionally made it as goofy as I possibly could, because I was trying to break my own mold and try and push beyond my own boundaries and just be as ridiculous as possible. But I tell you what, when I got back and I wanted to post that video online and have people check it out, I went to my Facebook feed and I was like, do I hit the publish button? I had the hardest time really doing it, because I was like, all my friends are going to think I'm just the weirdest nutball in the world. And those are my friends. So, but you know what? I agree with what you're saying, Steve. And the other day I was listening to the Johnny Pizza episode with you guys, and Johnny was like, it feels weird at first, but you just keep doing it, and after a while it just feels fine and feels normal. And yeah, I'll probably hedge my bet on that a little bit, probably at first, but I'm gonna find ways to put that content out there and figure out how to get myself out there a little bit more and put my own personal twist. And that was one of the things that Johnny talked about the most, that was kind of that I needed to really hear, was it's not just he's posting pizza. He's posting stuff about him and his world and his life and the things he's doing. People are responding to that. And then the 10th post is about, we got a sale on pizza or whatever. And it kind of goes back even to the FORD and just building those relationships with people and stuff like that, that people want to have that connection. They want to have that relationship. And then you can talk about what you have for them that they might be wanting anyway or whatever. So, yeah, I think that's huge. It's an interesting tie-in too.
And we started this off with talking about the podcast off tonight, talking about people hosting a podcast in person and what we're doing right now. Do you guys think we would be almost an hour later having this energy sitting face to face in a sort of a quiet room looking at each other? I don't think so. I think we're all in the comfort of our own home. We're having a good conversation about topics we're all interested in on a focused level with the headphones in, looking at each other on our computers. This conversation doesn't happen face to face, sitting here. I'd have to go get you something to drink. I'd have to go get you this, but I just wanted to point that out, that we're almost an hour in of nonstop content. This doesn't happen in person. You know,
and it removes a lot of the barriers. I mean, and that's kind of what you're talking about as far as not getting the drinks and not showing where the bathroom is and stuff like that. It just removes the barriers, so there's less excuses. You know, you just, all right, let's just hit record and go.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I can't believe we've been recording for an hour, like no script, no real, like, I mean, somehow we just got an hour in and I feel like we had a great conversation and someone's going to get some value from it.
Yeah. I mean,
it's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. I get value from it.
I was going to say that the value might just be the 3 people on the call, but that's okay.
Maybe. I'm having fun.
Yeah.
So.
Right?
Yeah. Well, I guess we have one more topic, guys, before we get out of here, and it's the CMT Awards. I said it to begin with, and Aaron was shaking his head like there's no way he was watching the CMT Awards. Aaron, are you not a country music guy?
No, I have no problem with that. I don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
Not a fan, not a follower.
Josh?
I usually do watch stuff like that. I don't know why I'm not watching tonight. I mean, I'm a huge fan of like Eric Church. I've seen him 3 times in concert. I like Darius Rucker ever since he was in Hootie and the Blowfish. I mean, Luke Bryan, I'm not such a big fan of, but I mean, Steve, you could name any song right now. I put you to the test. You tell me like the song that maybe your daughter or wife likes right now, and I could spit a little bit of lyrics to you.
You know, I'm the opposite of that.
I know you.
I can sing any song. I can't name a.
You
artist
name the babies. I'll name the dogs.
Right? What about Drunk Girl?
Drunk Girl.
Yeah, you don't know that one yet.
Oh darn it! I think you got me. Is that the one where he's talking about he meets someone at a bar, takes her home, and
does the right thing, make sure she gets home safe,
leaves the lights on, locks the door or whatever?
Yeah.
I don't know the words to that one.
Yeah, I don't think that's one of the kids' favorites, but
I do like the premise of that song a lot.
Yeah.
But I don't know the words to that one.
Oh, go ahead.
So you guys just aren't like, what kind of radio station do you guys listen to, or do you even listen to the radio? What do you listen to in the car? Podcast, probably.
Well, you know, I don't know if Aaron's ever really noticed it, but I have a lot of bump in the trunk. So I'm not a music guy, but growing up in Fayetteville, man, I used to always want to be able to have like, you know, the amp and the speakers, you know. I'm 40-year-old, you know, midlife crisis. Call me what you want, living in, you know, Mr. Safe Town. Like, I feel like the thug on the street a lot of the time, but with my wife and my kids, it's always country. So I know like every word to every country song that's on the top 100 or whatever it would be. But in my car, driving around to the grocery store and back, it's like I go to Amazon Music. I don't have any music saved, you know, to my phone where I can just pull it out and have some big playlist. I go to Amazon Music and I hit like, you know, like rap music, you know, top hits or something like that. And I just hit play. And I don't even know if it doesn't bass loud enough, I hit skip. It's pretty simple.
It's really true. There is something about like now that you've reached a certain age and level and you have the car and it's got the sound system in it and it's maybe not all decked out and stuff like that, but it's just a nice sound system. You're like, I want to see this thing work. I want to try it out, you know. Let's get something with some bass. Let's get something with some stuff going on. I have to admit I do the same thing as far as with, you know, occasionally listen to rap music and stuff like that. But no, I haven't listened to the radio almost ever. I never find that the mainstream music is really anything that I'm interested in. I'm always listening to stuff kind of off on the edges and stuff like that. And you guys are talking about country music. I think my only connection with country music is really just listening to the old time greats like Johnny Cash and, you know, those guys from way back when and stuff. So, and some stuff like that's called alternative country. I think when Wilco started, they were alternative country, and Ryan Adams is not Bryan Adams, but Ryan Adams is a alternative country kind of guy and stuff. So I tend to listen to that stuff, but I haven't listened to any of this other stuff. I just don't know it.
What did Bryan Adams sing?
Summer of '69.
Summer of '69.
How's that go, Josh?
It was the summer of '69. How else does it go?
Yeah, I think he does some kind of weird scream after that. It was the summer of '69. Oh, anyway.
So,
what?
Couple questions off that, Aaron. Like, what's like maybe one of your favorite rap or hip hop songs. Could be now, could be like going back 20 years. Like, I mean, if it's like Beastie Boys or what, I mean, I don't even want to name anything, but whatever it is, what is it?
So I have to admit, like, I didn't listen to a lot of rap for a long time. I don't even want to get into the whole reasoning behind it. It's just, just one of those things. But I think like a couple years ago, I started listening to Drake. And so the what's that song about the used to call me on your cell phone or whatever, that whole song.
You like, used to call me it's probably, on my cell phone.
Yeah, it's probably not the coolest rap music out there. It's probably, just too light for everyone else, but I really enjoyed that. And I'm trying to even think. I haven't listened to anybody in a while, but yeah, so it's not a lot, but there is that stuff that I want to find it and then hear it and then put it on the speakers just to hear there's a song I've been listening to recently, singing like Lana Del Rey or something like that. I don't even know who it's by. And but I just heard it and I was like, that's got a great sound. So I just kind of put it on my workout playlist and so I hear it all the time now, but I don't even know who it is. So
I was riding home with the kids in the car, and you were talking about speakers in the car. I have a 500-watt amp, aftermarket amp in the car with two Kicker 12-inch subwoofers in the box in my trunk. So I mean, whenever I say I'm bumping, I'm in like literally like it's thumping.
And so I have to tell you that today was the first day I've heard that. Yeah. I was sitting in my office and you drove by and I hear boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
And I look out and there's your car driving by and I was like, oh, that was Steve.
I think I was and for like I talk it, walk it like I
talk it.
Yeah.
Walk it like I talk it.
I don't even know what he's talking about, but I'm like, okay. Basing? Okay, base.
Is he talking about walking tacos?
I have no idea what he's saying.
Walk it like I talk it.
I'm just like, kids, if you hear a bad word, don't listen to it. And if it gets too bad, I'll change it.
And like at first, before Aaron goes and looks out the window, he's like, those darn kids, we need to move.
No, believe me.
It's Loper.
This street has nothing on our first home. I got to tell you, nothing. Not even with Loper.
All right, guys. Well, I think we have hit about it, man. I think we just clipped an hour or so. Any last comments? Anything you want to share? Anything you want to announce? Anything you want to promote? Now's your time.
Is there anybody that you guys are pulling for with the CMAs? Who are you hoping to win it all?
I like Kane Brown. I want him to be a big winner. And I don't know that. Who's my guy? Who's my guy, Josh?
Who is your guy?
My guy. Big dude, beard. Freaking A, what's his name?
Oh,
Justin Timberlake. He shows up with
yeah. Oh God, Chris Stapleton.
Yeah, Chris Stapleton.
Yeah,
I don't know if he's nominated for much or anything, but those are kind of like my top two guys right now. Chris Stapleton, I got to see him in a really small venue right before he blew up, and I didn't know who he was. And then when I left, I started singing that Whiskey song. It's one of those, if I could hear it, I'll sing every word to it. But now I know every single word on both of his CDs, or two of them at least. I don't know.
Dude has an incredible voice.
He's good.
Unbelievable. I guess I would say I did look before we started, and I saw the CMT Music Award Video of the Year. BB Rexa and FGL, Florida Georgia Line, were up for that. I really do like that song that they have. What is it? I can't think of it now. Do you guys know that song though?
I have to hear it, man. I'm horrible. It's like trivia.
BB Rexa's that blonde. Gosh, I can't think of it. But anyways, I guess the one I was really excited about was Duo Video of the Year. Dan and Shay, that Tequila song.
Yeah.
That's a good tune. If you've never seen the video, like watching the video, like really kind of like opened up my eyes to like what that is all about. Like the video is just like really powerful. It's just kind of interesting. But yeah, good talk. I guess, can we end it this way? I guess I want to thank everyone for checking in and listening to us. We definitely appreciate it. I mean, we're having a lot of fun. And we'd be doing this anyway without any listeners. So it's awesome to even have like however many listeners we do have. But Aaron, I wanted to ask you, like, let's kick out like a question question of the day to like the folk out there that are listening, and they might not chime in. They've been kind of quiet lately, but I got a really special prize for someone who's the first one to reach out to it. If you want to kick it out, little market research, a little bit of like whatever, it's yours, man. Question of the day.
I don't know who's everyone pulling for the CMAs. Who do they want to hear win? Who are their favorite country music stars? Who have they been listening to that's maybe underrated? That song, by the way, I just looked it up. "Meant to Be" by Baby Rexha.
Yes, thank you.
If it's meant to be, it'll
be. It'll be. Baby, just let it be.
All right, I think I have to watch that video.
Maybe
now.
she will. Maybe she won't. Yeah, that's good stuff.
Do they talk like that in the real world? Do they have that real thick accent like that, or is it just put on for the music?
Got to put it on, man. Girls love that stuff. I can't wait till my vacation up north in a few weeks, man. I'm gonna be talking like this all day up there. You know, they're gonna.
You won't even have to. They'll think you already are.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna lay it on extra thick though. I love it. Y'all have sweet tea up here? What do you mean you ain't got no sweet tea up here?
You got no sweet tea. Bless your heart.
Yeah. My goodness. I need to take care of y'all and carry you back home with me.
I think you need to get like a white t-shirt with like barbecue sauce. Like, I had a barbecue stain on my white t-shirt. Yeah. She was killing me in that mini skirt. Little Tim McGraw.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's a good one.
I like it. Well, it's been fun tonight, guys. I appreciate it.
Aaron, thanks for mentioning the podcast earlier today and for being able to accommodate with the mic and all that good stuff tonight and willing to spend some time with us, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for letting me come on. I appreciate it.
You got it, man. I hope to do it again, man. It'd be fun.
Absolutely.
All right.
Good getting to know you, Josh.
Nice getting to know you too, brother.
All right, folks. You can find us on social media at the Heavy Hitter Facebook page. My name is Steve, aka Lopercon. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter. Those two main spots at Lopercon. My boy Josh Johnson, the co-host, the one, the only, the savage at Josh Johnson MN. And Aaron, do you want to put out any like social media handles or anything like that? If anybody has any questions, want to say you did good, anything like that, now's your time.
You can find me on at Eyes and Minds on Twitter.
There we go.
Eyes and Minds.
Everybody have a good night. This will be posted sometime before lunch tomorrow, and that will be on the 7th. So hope everybody has a good one. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, if you want to be a guest, just let us know. Talk to you guys soon.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.